Morning. Friday. Today is January 22nd, and we're going to start things off a little different this morning and take you on location to Competitive Metals, which is where I get my material. I've had episodes in the past where I've taken you through the front doors and we do a little tour and place order at the front desk, and since the pandemic, they limit how many people they're letting inside. So since then, it's just been as easy for me to just place my orders online, go later in the day, pick it up at will call in the back end. That's pretty much it. Nothing terribly exciting, but I thought you might want to see a little behind the scenes of restocking material. When we return, we're going to take a look at a Rockstar that I'm working on right now, which is set up for a 5-inch wide wheel. That particular design was not set up for 5-inch wide wheels because it couldn't accommodate disc brakes. And the reason for that is because the way the stays come straight back, there's no place to set the brake caliper. So I'll make more sense and we'll learn more about it as we get to it. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and get things started and see what's happening with Peak Cycles. First stop, gonna get these handlebars shipped at FedEx. Got shipping boxes, been driving around with them, no room in the shop. Then we're gonna stop by Competitive Metals, pick up some material, still driving around with these sticks here. Let's go ahead and hit the road. Competitive Metals. Been going there pretty much since day one. It's been literally years now, and they always taking care of me. Good people. If you need material, your local San Diego, hit them up. Moving on to the Rockstar with the brake disc tab. Brake disc tabs always look like an afterthought, in my opinion. I always do my best to make it look like it's always been there. And if you're going to run 5-inch wide wheels, they require this hub. A Nexus 3 will not work. You will need to use the Sturmey Archer right here, which requires disc brakes. And whenever you're adding disc brakes to a frame that wasn't meant for it, there's a lot involved. So that's what I'm going to share with you here. Let's go ahead and hit the shop and keep it going. Here we are back at the table. A quick mock-up of that paper template I just showed you and how the rear caliper is going to mount. Go on the holes here. Sit about like that. So let's go ahead and got it traced here. Gonna give it a cut, mock it up, keep it moving. So here it is, tacked on, nothing fancy, welded through here. A little gap there you can see, so that weld will fill inside. And grind it smooth. Back side we'll leave it a little thicker. Gonna go ahead and mock up the caliper and the rotor, make sure we're getting enough meat in the caliper. And if we're good to go, be able to keep going. And we are looking good. Got plenty of brake pad there on the rotor. You see it there? There we go. And the nice thing is, if you want to go with the 203, that's the 180, you would just slide the axle up. It'll line up right about there. Still plenty of room for the axle there. Gonna weld it up, grind it smooth, throw it on the jig, and now we can get this frame going. That there, my friend, is about as good as it's going to get. Not horrible, considering it was an afterthought. We'll live with that. Go ahead and throw it up on the jig and get this frame started. There's the Rockstar we've been working on. Set up for a 130 millimeter wide rear. See the dropout spacing here, and the whole purpose of adding this caliper mount. Let's go ahead and do a mock-up on the ground and give it a look. So there you go. The design is a little different than what you traditionally do, and HB Robert had one of my Rockstar frames, which is one of the only ones that had a 5-inch rear on it, which needed disc brakes. And I took his design and just changed it up a little bit of what you saw there. Overall, the concept is the same, and I'm sure Robert looked at that rear end and really couldn't figure out anywhere else to place that caliper either. When I say that, I'm going to break it down for you right now so you have a better vision of what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I have this brake rotor pretty much mocked up where it would be if we had a wheel on here and the axle was pushed at the center of the slot there. And what we're going to do is demonstrate why this caliper has to be mounted on the end here. Based on the shape of these stays and the way the dropout dips down, yes, it was an afterthought. This frame was designed originally for a coaster brake, but people have been asking for disc brakes, mainly because of the wide back end. So I'm going to move this around and give you a better idea of why we had to put it back here. Go ahead and keep it moving. So let's go ahead and start up top, which is the natural position. It would look really nice up there. The problem is the rotor, and this is a large rotor, this is a 203 rotor, doesn't reach the brake pads, doesn't reach. And you can't move this down any further because it stays in the way. Issue number one, move it down here, and we get it in its natural position to grab as much brake pad as possible, which would be about right there. And you can see we have a mounting screw here. I can get rid of the PC and the dropout, but we have a mounting screw here, and this one's not reaching anything. Put it down here in its natural position, and you can see the screws don't reach anything, let alone now your cable's going straight back. So where we have it here, and when I say natural position, what I do is I let the caliper rest all the way down on the rotor so you know you're getting as much brake shoe as possible. And this here, you can see it works. We add the tab on the end. The cable does come out the back, but when you're inside here like this, I know somebody else who used this one other time. The cable comes up, loops around, and goes forward inside the frame. No big deal. So there you go. I think what I'm going to do going forward is design another dropout plate. This is the original. Not going to make much changes, but when I had it in this position here, and I talked about the hardware meeting the plate up here, but nothing down below, I'm going to do another plate where it has your traditional half moon here, and that'll give me a material down here to where I can create slots for the caliper. Also, the cable now is facing downward toward the chainstay, which would be perfect. See where that goes. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and take a look at that mock-up on the ground. Again, pretty happy with that. Rockstar with the fat back. Meanwhile, I didn't mean to show you this hub without giving you details on it. And the reason I did that is because our next episode, it's going to be a big topic, is hub options. We're going to talk about the Nexus 3, the shifter bell here, how to calibrate. We're going to talk about dropout spacing per hub. Talk about bottom brackets, spindle length, sealed bottom brackets, hoop width, what combination of hoop, hub, and bottom bracket works and what doesn't. People ask me all the time, and if you'd like to know, be sure to stay tuned on the next episode. That's pretty much going to wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed today's version of what's happening in peak cycles. And until next time, make it a killer day! Can you see this? Get this situated this way. That way. All right, let's try it. And the caliper. When I showed the option that was on this end, and I mentioned that one of the screws for the mounting hardware met the plate, and then this one down here was, I need to move in closer. I didn't mean to show you this hub without talking about it, and the reason why I did that is because our next episode, we're not only going to talk about hub choices, another airplane. Oh. Use with what hub and hoop width. Talk about the Nexus 3, which I have right here. Ouch, that hurt my finger.